that my bone to pick with white men and men, and I put myself in the men category as well. It's my bone I have to pick. Is that just because you're standing up, or just because you're tired of, you're fed up with people treating you this way, is not an excuse to be angry. Just because you're standing up, or just because you're tired of, you're fed up with people treating you this way, is not an excuse. You're standing up. Three is not an excuse to go hitting people, punching people. It's not an excuse.
All right, so quick update here, guys. We made $80.69 on Uber, and on Lyft we're still at $8, I believe. Yeah, so we're at $88. $89.
So how are you gonna let somebody get you that mad? That's crazy.
So we're doing well. We're doing well. Headed 2 blocks away to pick up our next pickup. But before I arrive there, I do want to see where we're headed.
That's not a way to go about this stuff.
Do you want to see where we're headed? So
that's not a way to be patriotic. And that's the problem, is that these men are being too patriotic. You ain't supposed to fight over a president. You ain't supposed to fight over policy. You ain't supposed to fight over red or blue. That don't make no sense. Ain't solving no problems. And I see men doing that a lot. Because they're fed up, and I understand. Trust me, I understand. I understand. When people call you all these things and they paint you out to be something that you're not, and then they convince the world to try to think that you are something that you're not, and the world believes it, and then they start attacking you too. I understand. Still not an excuse to retaliate with anger or with violence unless you're defending yourself. That's the silliest, and it's actually making it worse for you, for men and white men. It's making it worse for you, because now that you're giving everybody, the enemy, an excuse to point the finger at you and say, look, see, he is angry. Look at him. He is a racist, angry, violent man. Look at him. That's not wise. You got to play the wise game, the smart game, and that ain't it. You got to be wise. I ain't saying it's easy to do, but that's the way to go. But, all right, look, I'm done with that.
Good evening.
I was quick today.
How you doing?
All's well, thank you.
Just be smart, guys. Be smart. Don't be
Headed Portillo's?
Yep.
Especially with this politics stuff, like, don't get carried away, don't get fired up, and don't get passionate, because it's going to get you in trouble, and it's not worth it. People getting fired from jobs and all that crazy stuff. It's just silly stuff. But with that being said, I realized something like 10 minutes ago, maybe 15, of how to get your country back. How to make it so your country never falls again. But mainly how to get it back, right? Because the country, man, how to get it back. One simple thing. And shout out to the Hake Report and Krishan the Don, because Krishan the Don was a guest on the Hake Report, which show just aired, for those who don't know, right before mine. Krishan Don said something that just put it so into perspective for me. So shout out to Krishan. Is the best way. It's so good. It's so good. The best way to get your country back and to lead a great life, the best way is to lead your wife. That's it. It's that simple. And Krishan said it on the show, and then when you said it, I was like, oh, shoot, that makes sense. The best way to get your country back and lead a great life is just to lead your wife. And you do that first, obviously, by overcoming so you can see how to lead and stuff like that, right? Be an example. But to lead your wife. And I'm going to tell you why it's that simple. I'm going to tell you why it's that simple. Because if you take it back to Adam and Eve, destruction happened when the order was broken. But when the order wasn't broken and
drop-off updated,
was led by God and he led Eve, the order was perfect. It was fine. Everything was in order. The animals were doing the thing. The garden was looking pretty. It was all going. Happy life. But it was when Eve went against the husband. But that wasn't even the problem. That wasn't even the major issue. Because Eve would have had to deal with her consequences. But the major issue came when Adam disobeyed God. That was when the major issue came. If that doesn't happen, order, paradise on earth. So in order to keep order in your life, order in your home, and then for other people to see that order and it inspire them to keep order and then blah, 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 blah. And then you raise kids to follow that order and they raise their kids to follow that order. And then eventually you got your country back, is only to lead your wife. Because the disobedience...
we are audio and video recording this ride for your safety.
The disobedience, which first came from Eve disobeying, then turns into the woman who is mostly ran by the emotions, will then go and do what? Disobey. And then feminist comes, and then misogyny, and then all these different things. Love is love, and then all this stuff sparking from or stemming from the feminine nature of evil that exists within all people, but predominantly in women. Through their disobedience and through the weakness of men. So, if you want the country back and you want to live a great life, just lead your wife. Lead your wife. That's simple. And then everything else will fall in order. The kids, the home, your inner circle, everything else just fall in order because you're in order. That's simple. So, let's get on with the what is the calling on your life? What's the calling? Let's get into it. So I was watching, and then I'll get you a call, 888-775-3773. Callers, you gotta be patient today. I got you all day yesterday. You better wait. Chill out. I'll come to you in a second. I was thinking, and I was watching Theo Vaughn. You guys know who Theo Vaughn is? You guys know Theo Vaughn? Everybody knows Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaughn is a comedian, and he's like a pretty stand-up guy. No pun intended. But he's like a solid guy. Like, he's just a decent guy. And sometimes I'll check his podcast out. Sometimes it's a little bit too silly for me. And for my liking to watch a full interview, but I like Theo Vaughn. And he sat down with this.
What's going on? What's going on?
Physician.
So just a quick update here. Just waiting for it to update here. Oh, amazing. And she took me. So we're at $86.84 for Uber, and then $8 and some change on Lyft. So we're just under $100. We're already headed to our next pickup, which is about 13 minutes away. And we're doing amazing. With that being said, we have about an hour left of driving, and then that'll be it for today. And then tomorrow, I'll be on from 3:30 a.m. to about 5 or 6 p.m.
They're a doctor, they're a musician.
But I really want to reset my sleep schedule. That way I'm starting at the crack of dawn instead of these late night shifts. Because I was just trying to fix it just by doing the 12 hours, and then eventually it'll catch up to itself as far as when I should start. But with the altercation that happened last night, I'm no longer doing weeknights. I'll do weekend nights if it comes to it, but I'm not doing weeknights anymore. But if anyone has any Uber and or Lyft questions, let me know, and how I make $2,000 a week. Ask away.
Saying that I'm not grateful and I don't love being a comedian. It's been a blessing, but it's like, if I created that, okay, I have to be this thing for you to see me. Then who created that? You know.
You know what I like about Theo is Theo he questions stuff. He's like,
routing that's coming includes traffic delays. See, why don't I see this? I'm just screenshot this.
Nasty type comedians, right? Like he's open and he questions things and he looks at himself and he's honest.
Yeah, I don't get that anymore.
For that.
Sorry guys, I'm not texting. I'm looking at the update that Uber's rolling out that I don't actually have.
You versus real you type concept. Like he's getting into that. That's what it almost seems like. And what he's describing as him saying that he questioned whether he should be a comedian and what would he be if he wasn't a comedian. Those are good questions because my whole life, that was my entire life. I'll tell you guys real quick and then we'll move on. That was my entire life. Is that since I was a child, my earliest memories was wanting to be this entertainer. My earliest memory.
Yeah, I'm going to call Uber later.
Cassette tape.
Like, hey, why don't I see upfront details?
Dancing to Michael Jackson.
You advertise that I should be, but I don't.
Going to the parties, dancing at the family parties, doing the Michael Jackson split, and doing the little moonwalk and all that. My earliest memories are that. So in my mind, I was already thinking like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Michael, MJ Osprey. So I grew up like desiring that my whole life. I always wanted to do that. That was my thing. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be this entertainer. Adulthood came and I'm like, oh, I'm going for it. I had the opportunity, took the opportunity, boom, got signed and was doing the whole thing, feeling myself, boom. Obviously the industry is a mess. So I got out of the industry and then started my own thing. I'm like, I'm gonna start my own thing, my own industry. You know, these big dreams. And the point is, my mind was set on that, and I was thinking that, like, this is my calling. This is my thing. And I identify with that unconsciously. I identify with that. And I realized that the only reason why I even wanted to be those things at the very root was because I wanted attention. And it stemmed from me always growing up feeling like an outcast, feeling different, feeling like nobody really understood the way I thought and stuff like that, right? Which was true. I have friends that I never had a problem getting along with people, and people always liked me. But I
and it's raining, just like I mentioned before.
And
It looked like it was about to rain, and now it's actually raining.
And I want you guys to hear,
And I didn't even look at the weather today. I just assumed. My own two eyes.
What you call it? But Theo talks about.
If y'all can just do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, and buy me a coffee. buymeacoffee.com/itsmidnight_your Uber driver. Click the link on the pinned message and show some support. Leave a comment there, send me a coffee. That would be amazing. This guy coming into my lane that I'm trying to merge into, and didn't even use his blinker. Crazy.
We are audio and video recording this ride for your safety.
There was something there about wanting the attention and wanting to like just do it to feel important or good. But I didn't realize the depths of it. And my whole life, me chasing that never worked. And this is why I understand what Theo's talking about. The whole thing that never worked. God always told me no. Always. I used to be frustrated. Like, why is that not working for me like it's working for everybody else? I know I'm better than that dude. Why can't I connect like him though? Always frustration. Always ticket. And fortunate for me, thank God, praise God, grateful that he told me no. Because there's people, like what he was talking about, is where they're given that false glory. And they build this life around this image that stems from just one
We're 3 minutes away from our pickup here.
but not anything else. And their life is built around it. And then they learn way later in life where now they have all this stuff they accumulated, and then they realize that they're in bad position. And I was fortunate enough that didn't happen to me. God told me no. But it made me realize that because my plans, I can only see so far what's best for myself. But God always knew that there was something else He had planned for me better. By the way, I hated podcasts and podcasters. Hated. I appreciated being here at Bond, but I was doing the audio engineering for JLP. That was cool stuff, but I never had it. Even watching him, I'm like, I'm cool. I ain't jealous. Do your thing, JLP. But it ain't my thing. I'm good. Like, I never had a desire to do it. I wasn't interested. And I was like, I'm cool. But little did I know, I got a freaking podcast. Can I say freaking? Don't say freaking, kid. But now I got a podcast. But the point is that when you let go of your life and let go of your own plans, God will lead you and guide you in the way that is best fitting for you and for what you really desire. And it's way more rewarding. I don't plan these shows. I don't plan to make them good or bad. This is kind of just happening naturally. But I'm not saying that podcast is the end all be all for me either. Who knows what's gonna happen next? Maybe this is temporary. Maybe I get to episode 300 and God's like, I got somewhere else I want you to be. And we gotta be okay with that. But, and then I'm gonna get to some calls. calling. Everybody has the same exact calling. And when I say calling, I mean like purpose, right? Because you can do this in different things. What I'm about to explain, you can do this in different like areas of life. But everybody shares the same purpose. And that only purpose is to overcome. That's it. That's it. That's everybody's only purpose in life is to overcome. And through overcoming, through the gifts or the things that the talents you've been given, you use that to spread love, right? To spread light, to point people to God. That's really what it is. Point people to God. So you may find like a calling that you have to do, whether it be a podcast or a doctor or whatever, right? Who knows? And that may be your thing, but through that is where your purpose is supposed to shine, which is to be overcome. Love working through you, light working through you. You be an example for the world in whatever you do. And you're supposed to add to the world. And most importantly, you lead your family. So that's everybody's purpose, is to overcome. That's it. It ain't to be a doctor. It ain't to be a podcast host. It ain't to be those things, because those things may not last forever. It's to overcome and to let God lead you into wherever He may have you go. You know what I mean? So you just gotta be open and let go. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. That's crazy. Lord, I thought I was gonna be this little entertainer. And who knows what the future holds? Maybe somehow entertainment or whatever. The stage will find its way. I don't know. But I'm not supposed to care. That's the point. I'm not supposed to care. And then God will add all things. I know for a fact God adds all things. I tell you that for a fact. 28. All right, let me go to some calls, and then we'll go from there.
Good evening.
Let me go to Serge out of Texas. Serge, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Joel, how are you?
All good, Serge.
Just making a stop.
How are you?
Joel,
So I just have to pick up
I wanted to ask you,
Sure.
what does it look like to be under God? What does that look like? Because we say it a lot, right?
Yeah.
God, man, one child. What does it look like to be under God?
I'm not quite sure what that means, to be under God. What do you mean by that? Like to follow God?
Man, I think that, yeah. Well, yeah, so to be under Him is to
in him. And in her seeing that, she just follows suit. So the man doesn't have to try to be a man or prove he's a man. He just is if God put it that way. If that makes sense.
It makes sense. It makes sense. That's one of the things that I was thinking about.
In what way? In what way? Explain it to me.
Well, I was just wondering about myself, and I was like, why is it that I know this intellectually, which is crazy, me knowing something intellectually, I'm slow. And then I was like, but why can't I just let it be?
Yeah.
And then I realized I don't know, not anything of my works, but I really don't know, like spiritually, I don't know God.
We are audio and video recording this ride for your safety.
So how am I going to be under God if I don't know?
Yeah.
If I'm really honest with myself?
Yeah.
I still believe in God.
Yeah. No, that's a great point is knowing yourself, getting to know yourself, really understanding yourself more. And that takes time too, for one. It's not like something you just wake up and say, I'm gonna know myself today. That you kind of grow. At least that's how it was for me, is growing into it. And when you know yourself, you know that you just know. I can't explain it. But you just know, and when you know it like you said, it's different than just believing it. You know it, and you operate. It operates out of you, right? And it don't mean you don't make mistakes and stuff like that. It don't mean that, but you're grounded in the truth, and it just kind of it just flows through you, and you realize that you don't even have a desire to prove to people that you're manly, or that you don't have a desire to tell anybody that you're an alpha male, because what do you have on you? So knowing yourself is, that's a big part.
Yeah. And one little last insert. People, I get this a lot, right? Because they're like, oh, you're so calm, and they think that you don't got no hell in you. And I'm like, no, that's so not true.
Right.
Because like I can identify the little things. You know how many times I pull back from typing just to say something simple as I'm waiting for my sibling to give me back the money that they owe me, so I pay. And I'm like, why am I telling him that? That's none of his business.
Yeah.
To pay him. And I'm just like, I feel some type of way about them not paying on time.
Yeah.
Why don't I just do what's necessary, not feel some type of way, and just never loan the money?
Yeah.
So I can see that just through those little things. Satan want me to be like, oh, good, can nobody make you upset? But it's not, he want me to not see that it's still in me.
Yeah.
And because he hide good, and he keep running, relocate to other areas, and I'm like,
That's what he
I know
does.
you're still there. I'm watching you. Want me to take my eye off you, bro?
That's what he does. No, and that's man, sir. That's the beautiful thing about what you're saying is that you're being honest. You're being honest, and that is the only way that God can draw us in more, right? To be, or just to learn His ways more. Is you got to be honest and break through that veil of denial or pretending like you got it together or acting like you're hard, like all that stuff is just keeping you from seeing the truth. So the fact that you're honest with yourself just shows that you're on your way, and God's gonna lead and guide you in all things. And that's what He's been doing for me. So I know that for a fact.
And last comment to the guy with the mega hat that hit the guy.
Yeah.
Men should never be moved by words, man. That's a clear sign of someone who cannot lead a home, and they don't need to be a represent. That's not what Trump represents, man.
Yeah.
That is not what he represents. They are poor representatives of Trump.
Exactly. I appreciate it, Serge. Great points, man. Call me again.
All right.
He made a great point at the end too. Is that, listen, you also Trump supporters. We also support Trump as well when supporters act crazy. And it's a silly thing, like why would you make somebody else responsible for another person's actions, right? But it doesn't help when Trump supporters go out and do crazy things. It doesn't help. So you're still a representation of the party. And so you gotta watch your action and watch your behavior, watch your attitude. It make no sense to be fighting about this stuff. What the, ain't nobody else that 69-year-old man ain't paying the 63-year-old man's bills to be that mad to try to punch him and get arrested? What the? Unless he was attacked. That makes no sense to do that. Or even have a desire to do that. Grown men don't fight either. Don't get me started. Grown men, mature men do not fight. I don't know where people think that you're tough if you fight. No, you do not fight. Who has time to have a broken wrist or a fractured hip or a bruised eye when you got work tomorrow? Who got time to fight? That is not tough, that is not alpha, that's not nothing. It does not make manly to fight. Now if you gotta, doesn't mean that you're not capable. Doesn't mean that you don't defend yourself. And doesn't mean that people shouldn't mess around and find out. You know what I'm saying? I don't fight, but I ain't a punk either. I'll tell you that. But I'm not trying to fight you. I don't want to fight you. No desire to fight. So stop trying to fight. Alright. Let me go to JC. JC at Little Rock. JC, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Well, Joel, how are you today?
All is well, JC.
Good. I wasn't going to call in today. I was just going to listen, but you just bring up some interesting things. So I'll get to the controversial question first, then I'll get to like the meat of the conversation that I really care about. Okay, what do you think when
take your time, no rush.
Prefer, or they say things like but good ones, but in reference to like black people, but good ones. What's your thoughts on that?
What's wrong with it? I don't see what's wrong with it.
The good ones, Joel, like, oh, those are the good blacks. Those are the good black guys. They're not these thug types or gangster types or whatever. They want to try to label us as if those are bad guys too.
That's like the language of those who identify with color. And you tend to be one that identify with color, so I'm not sure exactly why that bothers you.
I'm always going to identify with my color. I love
then why does the good ones?
I'm no shame in it.
So why does saying the good blacks bother you if if you are okay with color identity?
Well, because that goes back to like a slavery type of thing. Like, oh, no, those slaves were like the good slaves. Like these were the good blacks. These were not the ones we would have to worry about. These are the good ones. We're not going to use them as much. Maybe we'll invite them to be in the house. Conversation.
I think it just sounds like you're picking and choosing. It just sounds like you just want to be mad about something, JC.
You know, I can always be mad. I can always be mad.
That's all it sounds like, though, because I don't understand how that's like. I mean, now
of course you don't.
Being a bad black is
you're
one
not going
thing.
to call out wrong too often.
No, because when at first it's like, well, I don't want to be labeled as a bad black, but now it's like when I'm labeled as a good black, I'm also mad about that. It just seems like it's finding something to be mad about.
There's a lot of things that come with history and education that we should not have to be having these conversations in 2024. I never had to expect to have this conversation, but again, certain people love to promote more racism and hatred in 2024 than usual.
Wait, I see. So you think that when people say it's the good ones, it refers to racism, slavery?
I mean, there's the connotations that, like, you have to look at just those meanings of words and everything. It's not just, oh, I didn't mean to say that. I didn't know those words mean that. I didn't mean this and that. But you're saying it on public airways. You have to do your research.
We are audio and video recording this ride for your safety.
Like type certain things, knowing exactly what they mean, and then when they get called out, they're like, "Oh, I didn't mean that. I don't know. Tall glass of water meant something bad." Anyway.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Okay, we'll move on right now. Let me say this last thing: is that 99% of the time when somebody's saying one of the good ones, I don't think that they're thinking about slavery. And yeah, if someone says, "Oh, that's a good black," that is kind of like a, I don't know, like a silly, like a. It's a joke at the end of the day, so you don't take it personal. But it is kind of like a slight jab. Oh, you're one of the good blacks, or you're a good white. It's a joke, but it does have a little bit of a slash in there. So they should work on that. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't be this like slavery reference, and now this person is a racist, and now it shouldn't be that deep. But anyway, go on, move on.
Okay. Now I just want to get like, let's see, I think I have 4 questions left. What was my third one? Did you see it on your screen or anything?
No, but if you don't remember, I
remember the main one is, did you ever overcome feeling like did you ever overcome feeling like an outsider?
Oh, that's a good question. Now that's a good question, JC. From JC's words, not like, did Jesus die for your Lord and Savior, and are you? I like that question.
Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on. You can't do that with the true Christian.
Yeah.
You can't keep playing with
Have a good evening.
God. Jesus died. Yes, Jesus died. And going to third, because I was a little rough on him yesterday in the chat. I'll admit that. Third.
No, okay. Let me reel you back in. Wait.
All right, and I'm not insulting. I'm just saying.
Okay, I know, but we're on topic now. We're on topic now.
Okay. No, I want to hear your story.
Okay.
This is your show.
Yes.
And you can read it in the chat. But yeah, did you ever overcome feeling like an outsider?
That's a good question. Have I overcome feeling like an outsider? I don't know if I necessarily. Go ahead. You're gonna add to it.
Oh, as you're thinking about that, because I was thinking about what you said today and yesterday, how like, at lunch tables, you never really knew where you belonged. You never really saw yourself as the black person or this person or whatever. So it's like, what made you feel like you were an outsider, I guess, might help this answer. Did you ever overcome it?
What made me feel like an outsider was the fact that when I would try to speak like my mind, and maybe not as in depth as I do here on the podcast, but I would have these thoughts growing up, like real questions, real curiosity, and I would speak on these things. It would always kind of be looked upon as weird or just awkward. It would come off as awkward. So I almost felt like I couldn't really relate to people because they didn't understand how I think. So I grew up always feeling that way because it would always happen. It would just get weird when I would ask real stuff. But at the time, I didn't know it was real stuff. I thought maybe I was weird. So there was like this false, trauma of me now feeling rejected or whatever. But did I overcome it at this point? That's actually a really good. Now that's a good question, JC. That's one I had to think about. I got to think about if I've really overcome that or not. So I'll smoke on that one.
it's interesting. I'll say this because I know you don't have much time.
Yeah.
But you know, first of all, everybody has the right to say whatever they wish. I mean, your chatters know that they say all types of horrible things about me, but that's their First Amendment right. Everybody has the ability and just the right to say something. Now, hopefully, you're saying something with a message, with a meaning, and you're not wasting your words.
Yeah.
And then, like, and I saw this on Facebook a few months ago, but isn't it interesting how we grew up to be the people that we would want to protect when we were children, you know? And I feel like, I think it is interesting. You do say so many different things. You get it off your chest to borrow from another child. And you say so many different things on how you feel. And it's a nice freedom to have a no holds barred feeling where you have the freedom.
We're just hanging out. Got 30 minutes left of driving, so I don't want to go anywhere too far.
There's a freedom with that, right? So you
But we're at $110.
that past version of yourself who felt like you were awkward, felt like you weren't being seen and stuff. I implore you to celebrate that version of you, a version that you didn't think would get there.
Oh, well, I understand what you mean by that, and I appreciate that. No, just to be grateful and be grateful for how far I've come and stuff like that. No, you're right. You're right about that, JC. I appreciate that, man.
Right. And see, I can be nice sometimes. Y'all really think I'm so evil. It's only because I'm true to myself and what I believe in. Y'all believe my motivations are evil. I'm just standing up for what I believe in. But I'm always going to be honest. I'm always going to be honest.
Fair enough, JC. I appreciate it, man. And I do gotta, you know, I only got an hour, so I gotta keep the calls moving. But I appreciate it, JC. Good call and call me again.
No, Connor, I really want to get it.
Will do. I will for sure. All right.
All right, just got a $7 ride on Lyft, so we'll accept that.
Let me go to cause I'm running out of time here. I'm like right on the cusp.
Turn off Uber and let's head this way. Oops. My phone restarted. That's funny.
Be out. So let me go to Rick out of Hampton. Rick, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
What's going on, Joel? What's happening with you, man?
All is well, Rick. How are you?
Man, I'm fine, man. I just want to start with the calling, man. The people know how I'm calling. I believe I'm calling this serve God and give love for a dying world. That's who we are.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. That's who we are, man. And other than that, man, the talent God give us, we got to use that to accomplish that.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe that's what it is.
Yeah, to spread exactly being of love so people can see what God's love actually looks like. Not like the emotional love or the up and down love, but God's love. And
oh yeah, you know, our conditional love is how you act before we love you.
Right.
Before we love you more.
Exactly. And there's not enough people who are actually being of love, even when it's not always nice or sweet or
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, love is sometimes tough. Love is sometimes hard too. It's not always, you know, what the world thinks it is. So it's nice. The world just needs to see more examples of it, for sure.
You're right, Joel. I just think people can't love because people are traumatized and never get over their trauma.
Yeah.
That makes it hard to love.
Exactly. And it's so bad. No, go ahead.
You know, just like that question. Who are you?
Yeah.
And everybody would have to be like, they couldn't get the question right. And finally, just like there you are, created to spread love.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, wow. And you think that you are.
Yeah.
We are 5 minutes away from our next pickup here. Oh, man. A lot of firefighters over there. Someone's getting bedded out.
We are audio and video recording this ride for your safety.
Yeah.
I mean, and then that's why relationships are hard. People hold on to their trauma and can't overcome. And it's, you know, hard with love. And they have to use the only God can give. Peace and true love.
Yeah, but 100%, Rick, the heart's got to turn, and not just the action, the heart's got to turn. And, you know,
Yeah, you gotta believe it.
and a lot of people think just as they do all the right things, do the good deeds, that's enough. No, your heart got to be right. And it's got to be real. So,
And you know, and God even said, y'all don't be what's right. Well, what I just tell you, do what's right. So when you do what's right, just keep doing it anyway.
yeah. 100%, Rick. I appreciate it. I'm so out of time here.
Well, no problem, Joanne. Love your show, man. You guys keep it up, man.
Sparkle is here to save the day and save you money.
How about you?
Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern and 3 p.m. Pacific. You can catch us here on YouTube, pretty much any channel, and then the audio podcast as well. And Sergio, how you doing?
Excellent. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing great. You know, we're coming off Bills win. Go Bills. So that's always nice to see.
Barca forever.
What's up?
Barca forever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Bitcoin is hit.
Hold on a second. Are you a Barcelona fan now? Because since I'm a Bills fan, you have to be a Barcelona fan.
I guess by proxy.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, that's it. There you go.
Yep. So, yeah, it's been a good weekend. Can't complain. A lot of good stuff going on. It's Halloween coming up. My kids are going absolutely crazy right now. We carved the pumpkins yet? No, that's tomorrow. Can we get candy now? No, that's on Thursday. So it's going to be insane. But either way, we're going to have a lot of fun. Let's get right into it because we do have our guests coming out in just a couple of minutes. So let's get into today's rundown. And that is, we're going to have Adam Warner of InDrive coming on. A couple of things to talk about there when it comes to InDrive. I know you guys have been, you know, asking a lot about InDrive, a lot of things there. Some very popular videos from when he was last on. So we're going to be talking to him in just a few moments. Then we're going to be talking about our Uber reservations worth it. We're going to be talking about the FTC finding Lyft. Are they looking at Uber and Lyft more in depth? We're also going to be talking about show me that Halloween money. Halloween is coming up, and as you said last week, you know, it's picking up. It's going to be busier than New Year's, or at least it was last year. Let's hope that it's going to be this year. So we're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about our Lyft ride challenges and Uber requests. So we're going to be talking about a few different things when it comes to the worth it categories. We're also going to be talking about Uber testing upfront tips on airport rides. A couple of thoughts I have on that one. We're also going to be talking about the poll results. We're also going to be talking about what our gig companies like Uber Eats. Dude, you got to rework this title. Either way, yeah, when it comes to it, what's going on with Uber Eats, some of the things there, and a blast from the past, what that might mean. But with that being said, let's bring on our guest. Craig, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate that. And then with that being said, let's bring on our guest. We have Adam Warner of InDrive. Thank you. How you doing today?
Wonderful, gents. Hope the day is going well for you. Thanks for having me again.
Oh,
Welcome back to the show, Adam. Welcome back.
I know a lot of people are interested in what's going on with InDrive. We had, I mean, some of those were the top performing videos just like right out of the gate when it came to some of the clips on here. So I know people are fighting and hoping that they can get another third leg into their arsenal of rideshare. So great to have you on.
Yeah, great to be here. And yeah, you're absolutely right. The work to be the third player in this market is challenging, and I look forward to working with all of the wonderful drivers out there.
Okay, welcome back, Adam. Thank you for showing up. So we have limited amount of time, but we're gonna do the most out of it, obviously. Last time you were on, I think it was about a year ago, maybe a little bit more. And initially we talked about, what InDrive is, who you guys are, and specifically the differences between the incumbents and InDrive. So give us a little bit of color about who InDrive is, the differences as far as the way the app works for the rider as well as the driver.
Yeah, absolutely. To kind of go back and kind of give a quick history on InDrive, InDrive's been around for 11 years, so definitely a global company. We just recently hit a milestone of 5 billion global rides just recently. So things are going well around the world. Like you said, a year ago, we launched in Miami, Florida. It was a great and incredible starting point for us in the US. And so we have been since learning, listening to feedback, listening to drivers, trying to understand how we can refine our service. Since we last talked, we've seen incredible growth, 341% increase in drivers over just the last 6 months right now, and also a 44% increase in passengers. So what is InDrive? We are just a fair pricing model, easy to use app. So what does that mean? I don't set any pricing at all. There's no algorithms running in the background of our service. This is a platform where a passenger and a driver can reasonably come together and decide what is fair for both
yes,
parties to pay for a ride. It's completely transparent. All the drivers.
Oh, gotcha.
Exactly
Yeah,
what
this
the
is where it's telling me to
passenger
stop.
is
So
paying. I'm not trying to bait and switch
Gotcha. No worries.
anybody. I want everybody to kind of understand what it is that they're doing, where they're going, and have all of that freedom of choice in their hands. So that's a little bit about what InDrive is for sure.
Yeah, I know quite a bit about InDrive, obviously, but I was just looking at the chat, by the way. I counted literally 30 cities, hello from Boston, hello from Oregon, hello from LA, So our audience is vast, and I'm pretty sure pretty soon everybody's going to start asking about, when are you coming here? When are you coming here? Well, there's a reason for that, Adam. The reason for that is the dissatisfaction rate in the driver community regarding the incumbents is at an all-time peak, as far as I know. I've been around 8 years doing this, as a driver as well as a passenger, but doing the show for the last 3 years, we built an amazing community where we listened to feedback and we tried to pass it on to the companies. But, last time you were on, you were just about to launch Miami in Florida, right?
Yep.
And what has happened since? I mean, I would have thought by now you'd be all over the country, right? But then I know what happened, but then I want you to, in your own words, tell our audience what happened.
So I think it's very interesting. So sometimes you have to slow down to go fast. So launching in Miami, we got widespread adoption relatively quickly. We got a large chunk of market share, a lot more than I anticipated very early on. And so we got to kind of learn what works. There's some aspects of our global application that doesn't necessarily translate directly over to a US-based user. We had to kind of get that feedback, really suss everything out, understand what works, what doesn't work, so that we can make those changes. Also, and I know as I'm a viewer of your show, as I'm sure our competitors are as well, everybody talks about commercial insurance. Like it is a hot button item. It is real. There's a real pain point, I would say, in how that kind of
she can't stand up. So what the?
And how we have to buy it. And so
then you should get someone to help you then.
Chunk of our revenue right off the bat. So we really had to kind of understand what usage-based insurance options we could actually get to make our service more cost-effective so that we can continue to keep commissions low. Because my goal is not to flat. I want people to know
We are
exactly
audio and video
what
recording
their
this
take
ride
home
for
is
your
going to be
safety.
based on what they're doing. And so in order to get that cost-effective solution, we really had to kind of go to work to make that happen. So good on us. We figured it out. We have a really good partner working with us now. We're able to kind of keep our insurance cost reasonable. Like, they're still high. Inflation's real, everyone. And I know you guys are feeling it with service, maintenance, and everything else on your cars. But we needed to solve those problems, and that needed to kind of help give us the advantage so that we can compete in this two-sided marketplace that you know, our competitors exist in now. And so I want to be that third player for not only the drivers, but anybody that consumes and takes ride on the gig economy platforms.
Yeah, you know, we'll talk a little bit more about commercial insurance, obviously, because that is truly the pain point, you know, as far as the companies are concerned, and definitely the drivers and the riders. I mean, the rider ultimately is paying for it. And so, you know, you launched in Miami. You just kind of had to revamp the app. You figure you discovered, you know, things that people use around the globe. By the way, is it true that InDrive's app is like the second or third most downloaded app in the globe?
It is the second most downloaded, you know, travel app that exists. Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
So you guys are real players. So because, you know, we've seen many other companies try to launch, right? And you know, in the U.S. specifically, and you know, they face issues, obviously, starting with commercial insurance. But so after Miami, you know, once you figured it out and you're settling down now, what is the plans for expansion? Where are we going next? Because I already see come here, come there, you know, all that stuff. So, give me a little color on expansion plans.
Yeah. So really, when I kind of sat down, we solved some issues, we made some changes. One of the things that I think is super important to us in kind of understanding the feedback from the driving community was, okay, we need to get our own kind of US-based application to kind of separate ourselves so that we can make more product changes that everybody wants and wants us to execute against much faster. So happy to announce we're probably 30 days away from actually launching that. So everybody will get that update in the app stores here shortly. So we're excited about that potentially coming out next 30 days or so. And so part of the next steps was really trying to understand, where can I go where nobody knows us? We didn't have, we don't have a lot of brand awareness. People don't know us. And so after kind of careful consideration, a lot of different metrics, we chose Indianapolis, Indiana. So that is currently our second strategic U.S. expansion market right now. And so we really kind of felt it was kind of a natural choice. They don't know us there, so how do we, it's an ideal location if you kind of look at the Midwest in general, so we can learn a lot about the consumers around the Midwest. And so we're now there. We have over 1,700 drivers currently signed up and active for us in Indianapolis right now. We haven't been there terribly long at this point, so maybe 45 days strong in Indianapolis, but excited to be there and really kind of learning about the needs of a whole different group of whether it be passengers or drivers. So we're now in Indianapolis, and we also expanded into a college town, Tallahassee, Florida, known for Florida State University. And so kind of really wanted to understand, how do we compete and create this fair marketplace with college students specifically. So everybody wants to save money. Drivers want to make more money. So how can I provide that product or service to that group? So
we are 2 minutes away from our pickup.
Florida.
I think this will be our last pickup for this evening.
In the not too distant future, we're going to be launching in Tampa, Florida.
But this will put us at just under $120 with only driving for 4 hours
today,
which I think is amazing.
We haven't launched. We haven't
120 in 4 hours is
launch
amazing.
date. If you're in the Tampa area, you're interested, please go download our app. You can sign up right there. Love to have you and get you on the platform, and excited to do some fun little promotions with the team and crew down in Tampa. So coming soon. And then 2025, I expect you to invite me again, and we'll kind of go through the whole calendar year of expansion plans. So really excited about what we're budgeting out for 2025. Our new app will be in tow. We'll be able to make those product changes, continue to have this community, and both you, Sergio, and you, Chris, provide me direct feedback on what's working well, what's not. So I'm excited to see what 2025 is going to bring for InDrive.
Yeah, expansion is one thing, right? The other thing is I do deal quite a bit with startups and some existing outfits. I have learned one thing and come to respect actually Uber and Lyft. Not that I talk quite a bit of smack about them, but there's one thing that I respect about what they did. Although they had the money to burn, put on fire to do it. To create a marketplace is an incredibly expensive and incredibly time-consuming and incredibly difficult thing to do. And the newcomers figured that out quickly. So, assuming you're a newcomer to the U.S., right, about a year old, what have you figured out about that? Getting the drivers is one thing. Getting the riders is something else. So, what have you learned about that? I mean, look, I a lot of people probably know, but the last time you were here, I mentioned it. I'll mention it again. You were part of the Lyft team for quite a while, right? So you are not a stranger to the rideshare business in general. And you went through the, growing pains of creating that marketplace. And so how are you dealing with that at InDrive?
Yeah, it's such a great point. Building a marketplace is extraordinarily difficult. And those incentives that our competitors can really put out into the marketplace can really do a number on anybody that's trying to kind of expand and get into this space. It's very unique. I'm faced with some of those challenges. I see certain incentives getting pumped in pretty consistently on both sides of the coin. So getting drivers activated and on the road, seeing passengers get pretty steep discounts, is a challenge. I'm not going to sit there and lie. It is the hardest part. We have to continue to understand what our value proposition is and really continue to focus on getting that passenger demand out there. I know that it's my number one ultimate priority. I do believe that there is driver dissatisfaction that is widely out there. And I hate that because I think I said it last time, I'm not the one doing these rides. So I need to be very cognizant of who is doing the work, how are they doing it, and how can I benefit them and provide that product or service. So even though it's a good thing for me that they're dissatisfied overall.
Hi, are you Amanda?
It does give me an advantage to be able to activate drivers in a short amount of time. So that's great, but I have to get my brand out there. I have to kind of let everybody know that we're not some fly-by-night operation. We're really here to continue to expand. I have big goals and big dreams about getting into every market here in the U.S. And so it's going to take not only the work of my great team that I have, but also every driver that comes on our platform. We got to get the word out. A third player's here. I want and understand that our model is going to disrupt the status quo, and I think that that's a good thing for everybody. And ultimately, I think it's going to be a good thing for drivers, and I think it's going to be a good thing for passengers. So I'm going to be here to fight the good fight.
Yeah, the fight the duopoly is not going to be
We
easy
are
for you,
audio and
but
video recording this ride
you have
for
the
your safety.
experience, and I'm pretty sure you have a great team to accomplish that. So, let's snap back a little bit and talk about, why? Okay, so why should a driver drive for InDrive, and why should a rider use InDrive for their transportation needs?
So ultimately, if you just kind of look at it, it's freedom of choice for all. I don't want any driver at any point to take a ride that they don't think is beneficial to them. I do want, I do want drivers to understand that they kind of set the marketplace. So me coming in and offering like a $5 ride where it should be a $20 ride fare, the drivers self-regulate that kind of experience. So, and I don't want a driver to do those, those $2-3 rides. I don't personally want anybody to do it. Everybody's free to do whatever they want and how they operate, of course. But for me, drivers set the marketplace. So if you are someone who likes to be in control of your own destiny, you get to see exactly what the passenger is paying. You know exactly that we're going to be fair and consistent and keep our commissions flat. Then we're the rideshare partner for you. Like, we aren't matchmaking. That is a big difference for most drivers out there. So when you turn on our platform, you are going to get offers from passengers, and they're going to come into your feed. But they're also going to come into every other driver that's in that vicinity as well. So you are competing against other drivers in this marketplace. So there is that distinction. But I like the opportunity to look at a ride and go, that's worth it to me. I'm going that direction anyway. That makes sense. I love that about our application. And so, that's a good thing for the drivers. For the passengers, I do it myself. I'm not going to lie. I was recently in Indianapolis, and I checked both Uber and Lyft's prices before I made the decision, just to kind of see the marketplace. So I saw that my ride was roughly about 24 and change. I put in $20 for my ride, and it got accepted. I got accepted at my bid price of 20. I was able to get to my hotel and get set up for the week. So I saved a little bit of money. The driver ultimately made more on that experience, because at the end of the day, I'm not taking, I'm not paying for my insurance up front and then paying you and kind of going through some of these, some of these math games that I know get played. So I do feel bad for everybody that has to deal with that. I apologize. I'm trying to fix that.
No, I think, for lack of a better word, there is a fixed take rate with you guys as opposed to fluctuating take rate. We've been dealing with this for a while now as drivers, right? External expenses, well, we have our own expenses. What about our expenses, right? Nobody's talking about that. But, so I know, I've been talking to you for a while, I've known you for a while. And one of the issues that was passed on to me over the last year is support, right? So there's 4 pain points when it comes to Uber and Lyft driver community. Obviously, one is earnings, always been earnings. Number 2, there is deactivations, right? Unjust deactivations. Number 3, safety. And number 4, they can all, interchange, obviously, is support. And well, I call Uber and Lyft support black holes, that you just get lost in the space somewhere. So what have you done regarding those, pay, I understand what's happening now.
Sure.
It's basically, you're like a trip radar of kind of sorts that the trips go out to a bunch of different drivers in the area.
Yep.
There's one other issue that I will, tackle after this but let's talk a little bit about what have you done as far as support is concerned? What have you done as far as about unjust deactivations? Because look, there are bad apples in the rider community and there are bad apples in the driver community.
Yep.
And, as far as safety is concerned, so what's going on in drive with those three topics?
Yeah. And so I think this is always going to be an evolving circumstance. Support is a big part of what we do. So we've continued to enhance our team and the capabilities of our team. Like, you can call us, you can chat us, email us, you can send a smoke signal, whatever you got to do, we'll come out and try to help you. So that part's really good. I've really loved what our team has done. We talk every week. Every day we go through some of those potential deactivation cases. So we have a multi-layered team that will kind of review that. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, making sure that every step of the way we fully have a great understanding of the potential opportunity and concern that happens. And so we've seen it a lot of different ways. You're right about there are passenger bad apples. We definitely review those cases where I've seen passengers try to get drivers deactivated for who knows what escalates some of those situations. I'm sure your audience has a ton of examples that currently exist. But for us, we definitely are reviewing it in that tiered approach. And I can promise you that we are looking to keep you active on the platform versus deactivating you. So we're going to do everything in our power to try to make it a just and fair program. But also, I'm very comfortable with us being challenged. So if we make a mistake, I'm comfortable admitting that we made a mistake. If we did wrongfully deactivate somebody. So don't be afraid to communicate with us. Got thick skin. We'll take the feedback, and I'll try to do something positive with it.
Okay. A couple of other questions. As far as lost items, right? There was an issue. I know, I get the feedback, and then I just kind of go, okay, these are the pain points, and Adam's got to know you're the head of the operation in the U.S.
Yep.
Lost items, and then damage fee. We drive at night. Somebody throws up in our car.
Yep.
The process of it, has it gotten better? Has it, has it improved?
It's definitely gotten faster, which I think is most important. The lost and found thing is so funny. We probably get, just in Miami alone, maybe 25 to 30 cases over the course of about 2 or 3 days. So that's pretty significant. So I'm still baffled that passengers leave so much stuff.
You have someone to help you bring your stuff in?
Still makes me chuckle a little bit.
No, I'm asking you. I can't help you. That's why I'm asking.
I don't have anybody.
Develop and enhance our lost and found process.
Sorry.
No, that's right.
From how we train our support agents on what to communicate, how to communicate, how to.
I can help you, like, put it on the porch or something.
Both a driver and a passenger together to get these items to them, and then make sure that we're kind of fair and consistent and try to support
this driveway here.
Some sort of compensation to the driver for doing that extra work. So some of those things have definitely improved. I'm definitely not where I want to be. So I still have some work to do in this arena. So please continue to provide that feedback if we are somehow failing in that arena. We'll continue to look at that process and policy and make it better for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And so I'll send your concerns to me if you're an in-drive driver in Miami, now Tallahassee, now you said Orlando, right? Indianapolis. So so this is the part of the show that so I know, Chris knows, but maybe you don't know, but the big brother and the big tree and the little tree are always watching our shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're on the big tree and the little tree. Do you have a message for the big tree and the little tree as far as competitive spirit, or not to play dirty, or I mean, you can take the gloves off here if you like.
Yeah. Our competitors. Like, ultimately, I want everyone to know in this space that drivers are the most important thing.
We are audio and
We
video
have to
recording
make
this
sure
ride for
that
your
we have
safety.
that's my
policies
target
and
base.
procedures that understand who's doing the work for us. And so, how do we continue to communicate, connect, be more transparent in what we're doing? I think everybody should have a choice and kind of understand their options, and not just kind of hide behind the fact that, oh, we just signed everybody up as a 1099. They're not employees, so therefore we can kind of, not communicate like we would kind of internally with our own employees. And so I think that really does have to change if we want to continue to make this better. Because if not, what's going to happen? You're going to continue to see rules and regulations kind of get parceled out state by state. And so that's going to create a really disjointed operation overall. It's going to continue to be very difficult to operate in that kind of environment where you have 50 states and you have 50 different rules and regulations that kind of oversee rideshare. And I'm not saying that all regulation is bad. What I'm saying is that if we would just properly communicate directly to the drivers, be transparent, I promise you there wouldn't be this swelling of demand to kind of change the rules and regulations to make sure that everybody's playing fair. Because look, at the end of the day, I prioritize fair pricing and putting the control into the hands of both the drivers and the passengers. So I am really striving to be the fair deals platform for all. And so, and I believe that this is the way to do it. And I believe that we can all do better by taking this approach. But you could definitely disagree with me if you do.
No, look, the competition is a good thing. Okay, I mean, I'm not against competition. It's good for the driver to have more tools in their toolbox, and it's good for the rider. I mean, there's I don't know, 10, 50x more riders in the U.S. than there are drivers, right? I mean, 152 or 160 million MAUs or MAPCs according to Uber on their platform. They have 3 million drivers. I mean, look, I think what you have and what you have learned over the last year, I think, was very important, and I expect big things actually coming up in 2025 from InDrive. You gotta, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Just the market's big enough. We just need to get a little sliver of that pie, and don't get bullied out of. I'm behind you. Those two, well, not the big one. They'll play some pricing games with you guys. They'll just mess around with the rider pay and willing to lose on every trip because they got the pockets. But that's all temporary. So I'll give you the floor last couple of minutes and close your segment up.
Absolutely. So, look, ultimately we're kind of we're all talking about our competitors, what InDrive has to offer. Look, I don't have an algorithm that is manipulating prices in the background. So our model is completely transparent. I want it to be easily understood by both drivers and passengers. If that's not the case, really would love that feedback so I can make those product changes for everybody in this community. But ultimately, my goal, like I said before, is to create a fair, transparent, and be responsive to the needs of the communities that we serve. I want you all to have the freedom to choose your own adventure, no matter what position you're in, whether you're a driver or a passenger, and come try us out. I'm excited to come to a city near you. And, I look forward to meeting the lovely communities that exist in the U.S. So happy to see you, happy to answer questions, etc. So let me know how I can serve you.
Yeah, I mean, I know Adam personally, and when he was launching Indianapolis, you know, he was traveling quite a bit, and he was getting in cars and talking to drivers. That's something you're not going to see David Vischer or Dara Khosrowshahi do at all. But so I wish you the best. You know, we'll be in touch, and whatever I get, I'll forward to you or to your team. And yeah, I am looking forward to 2025. I think it's going to be quite a year. You know, let's play the game. That's it. There we go. Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. All right. Laundry Philosopher. Appreciate that. Thank you. Difference. Adam is accessible.
Thank you, guys. So a lot of you are asking, honestly, I lost count, Chris. I think there's like 50 cities watching right now. Okay, so InDrive is in Miami, InDrive is in Tallahassee, InDrive is going to be in Orlando, InDrive just launched about 30 days ago in Indianapolis. If you any of those cities, and they have expansion plans going forward to 2025. I know what they are, I can't say. But the important thing is there's a choice. They do provide commercial insurance, period 1, 2, and 3. And the other important thing is, you know, there's no upfront fares with InDrive. The customer, the rider, and the driver, you know, can negotiate the fare. That's one. Number two, InDrive is, you know, one of the reasons, by the way, Chris, which I know and I can say, and I told Adam I was saying this, because quite a bit, quite fast, you know, sooner, but just like the other two, right? They figured out commercial insurance is a different animal in its own, but now they have secured that part of the business, so now they can go forward with the expansion in a more comfortable manner. So with eDrive, if you guys are going to ask, how am I going to make more money? Well, once you figure out what the fare is between you and the rider, the expenses are somewhere around 20%. You know, 20, 19, 21, that's where the expenses are, which includes commercial insurance, which includes, you know, city taxes and things like that. Then there is a 10% InDrive cut, and then the rest is yours. Unlike Uber and Lyft that could fluctuate wildly after external expenses. So, you know, InDrive is a big company. I think they're here to play, and I wish them the best. And for all the people who asked, are they coming here? Are they coming there? You know, we'll keep you guys posted, and you know, stay tuned.
All right. With that being said, ready for the rest of the show?
Yes, sir. There you go. We'll finish with this.
There you go.
There we go. No, see, this is the problem with the community right here. Mild. Okay. Edward, you start a rideshare company and see what kind of problems you run into. You know, I just don't understand. Anyway. Yeah, let's go ahead.
Well, I think, though, we also talked about it last week. Like, what is a fair fare for rideshare? You know, some people are thinking an extreme amount, and it's like, dude, you're a surgeon. You're not going to get paid that much. I mean, it's a pickup, it's a drop off, and it's not really that difficult on top of it. So where is the money that's going to be made? And, you know, you kind of hit it right on a good spot, I think, when it came to what a fair fare should be. And, you know, you give an inch to somebody and they're going to try taking a mile.
Yeah, I agree. And for all the people in the chat and watching later, if you have questions, send them to me. Sergio at therideshareguy.com. I'll forward it either directly to Adam or his team. So, you know, we are here to listen. And if you're having a bad experience, we're here to listen. If you're having a good experience, we're here to listen. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, let's go on to our first topic. And is it our Uber reservation rides worth it?
Yeah, you know, they were. How about that?
They were. Yeah.
Past tense.
They were. Now you're seeing like $3.75 Uber reservation rides coming on.
Okay. So can we'll talk about that, Todd, but you need to stick around. So, you know, the driver said he goes, look at these reservations, right? Oddly enough, those two reservations, Chris, on the right, they're exactly the same, right? They are the same pickup, same drop off, and the pricing is different. So that's part
We are
of
audio
the,
and
actually,
video recording this ride
And the
for
only
your safety.
one is the time's different.
yeah, the times are different, right? So, see, we're going to talk on it's the next topic, right? About the Lyft, the fine by the FTC.
Yep.
Have a good evening.
FTC. That's what we should be looking at. We shouldn't be looking at things that just don't mean much. But, so you need to be online. Yeah, we'll just
Amazing.
segue into this. So,
Waiting for it to
you
tell
need
you.
to be online 40 minutes before.
Oh, $21, right?
And supposedly, you know, Uber and Lyft will send you trips going. How many times does that happen? That I accepted a reservation.
No, we're not doing that.
Uber and Lyft gave me trips going in that direction, so.
We're ending $24.37 on Lyft, and we made $125. $125. 4 hours of driving, 4.5. Success, pretty successful day. So we're ending it now. Just gonna head to the gas station and fill up and call it quits. Could have took that last ride. It was $21, but I'm really trying to wake up early. Like, I'm not trying to do these night shifts anymore. No more. So, with that being said, we're headed to get gas, and then we're gonna have dinner, and that'll be it for this evening. So if anyone has any questions to wrap up this evening, whether it's Uber or Lyft, let me know.
People, you know, sometimes what they do is they'll send you a trip that you know you're not going to finish on time, and then they'll take the reservation away from you. That's what happens most of the time. So it's a complicated thing on the back end, I'm pretty sure, on the algorithm side. So most of the time, you know, you turn the app on 40 minutes before, and so in the same screenshot, as you guys can see, this driver did all the work and ovaled or circled it. Okay, so part of it says you'll need to be online 40 minutes before the trip, and you'll get trips toward your reservation. Not. But 40 minutes is a long time for a reservation that's $10. So now you have 40 minutes, and then you're gonna go pick up and drop off. So basically you're online for an hour for $10, right? Assuming this trip is gonna take 20 minutes. But then on the same breath, on the same screenshot, Uber says reservation policy, be online at least an hour before pickup and arrive on time, or you will lose this reservation. So this driver goes, which is it, sir? Is it 40 minutes or is it an hour? Everybody, I don't know. It's your thing. It's your app. And so that's why I just kind of think, you know, I'll talk about reservations. Are they worth it? I still see some reservations that are worth it, right? And they do pay better from on-demand trips, without a question, right? And but I think they're losing their luster because Uber and Lyft both are lowering the fares on these reserve trips, without a question. And I see the trend is kind of going lower and lower, slowly but surely. They're going lower and lower. So if you are going to do reserve trips, I'm not telling you not to do it. Do it, but please study it. Don't jump on it. Don't just go click on it and then you have to cancel it and all that stuff. Study the trip. Study the ping. Look at the time and distance. Look at how long it's going to take you, plus the 40 minutes. Always factoring the 40 minutes. And so, just like we always say, man, read the small print. make sure you understand what you're getting into, as opposed to just, oh, it's a reserve trip, it's going to put me at the airport, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. Ultimately, no, treat it as a business. So I'm curious, actually. So if you guys have any opinions about reserve trips,
I printed it because it says 777. How do you not get burnt out? That's a great question. So I get 8 hours of sleep. Secondly, every 4 hours I'll take a break, or every 6th hour I take a break, and it's usually about 30 minutes to an hour, and then that's it. Work out, eat well. Now, it's not like I'm driving 12 hours straight. I mean, sure, today's been a little bit back-to-back on the 4.5 hours, but for the most part, I'm a little tired, but that's just because I'm just naturally tired. Just naturally tired for the day. But when you're motivated and you see the money come in, there's no reason to be tired. You can sleep when you die.
We have Prop 22 in California. You cannot cheat with my mileage and time. I swear to Jesus Christ.
I drove almost 12 hours to Nashville, and I would make $500 a day. Yeah, see, that's amazing. But it's worth it. It's worth the $500. I appreciate it, Dylan. Appreciate it. But $500 a day is fantastic. I'm lucky enough to make $350 in 12 hours. But if I do Uber and Lyft, maybe I could do that. So I'll do 12 hours of Uber, take an hour break in addition to that, and then do like 2 or 3 hours of Lyft. That's what I'm going to do. Tomorrow I'm going to do, when I start tomorrow, I'm just going to do straight Uber for 12 hours. Unless there's like some dead spots, then I'll turn on Lyft. And then when I'm done with my 12 hours on Uber, then I'll do more hours on Lyft. And now that I'm not editing videos, I'm just doing lives. It makes life easier. What the? Is that car trying to turn right on a straightaway? What? And they turn. Amazing. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. How many miles?
If drivers aren't accepting the ride,
in a day? Like 200 to 300? You got in the car now? Well, I got the car, I think around 71,000. I'll just tell you, in this month alone, it's at 2,300. But that's not all me. There's like probably 300 or 400 miles on it for this month before I actually purchased the vehicle. But I think about it at 71,000 miles, and now it's at 73,000.
Audio video recording has stopped.
Thanks, Dylan. Much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you.